UPSC main file number 22, solved papers, paper 2. Time allowed 3 hours, maximum marks 300. Answers must be in the medium specified in the admission certificate issued to you, which must be started clearly on the cover of the answer book in the space provided for the purpose. No marks will be given for the answers written in the medium or other than that specified in the admission certificate. Candidates should attempt all questions strictly in accordance with the instructions given under each questions. 2 graph sheets are attached to this question paper for attempting questions 9B and 10C. The graph sheets are to be carefully detached from the question paper and surely attached to the answer book by the candidate. Question number 1. Answer any 2 of the following in about 250 words each. 20 into 2, 40. A. List the Central Asian republics and identify those of particular strategic and economic importance to India. Examine the opportunities and bottlenecks in enhancing relations with these countries. Important points for answer. Central Asian republics, strategic and economic importance, opportunities in relations, bottlenecks in relations. The Central Asian republics are Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. The Central Asian region as a whole not only connects Asia to Europe, but is also rich in natural resources. It provides the shortest transit route to Europe from Asia and has a 55 million strong consumer market. It therefore occupies a special place in India's foreign policy priorities. Unlike the past, the importance to India today is not merely civilizational, but also geopolitical and economic. India has joined in the new great game in the Central Asian region for the area's vast energy resources. India considers Turkmenistan an extended neighbor, a natural ally and a key partner in Central Asia. India's Vice President Hamid Ansari visited Kazakhstan and signed MOU expressing readiness to work on a project specific made of hydrocarbon sector, food production, information technology and education. Bottlenecks. One of the major issues standing in the way of greater relation between India and Central Asian states is a lack of efficient transportation capabilities, road, railways, etc. However, the Indian press has reported that an international north-south transport corridor linking Central Asia with India will soon be developed by the recent steps taken by Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and Russia to increase road and rail connectivity may help in the development of the corridor. India is surrounded by unstable or authoritative states, so direct access to the Central Asia is difficult as the route passes through the Pakistan-Afghanistan region. China's growing influence in the region is also a hurdle for India's growth in that region. B. Critically examine the security and strategic implications of the so-called string of pearls theory for India. Important points for answer. String of pearls theory, implications for India. China's string of pearls policy started in the 1980 and its basic aim was to give China increased energy security with requesting stations through the world. String of Pearl describes the manifestations of China's rising geopolitical influence through efforts to increase access to ports and airfields, develop special diplomatic relationships, and modernize military forces that extend from the South China Sea through the Strait of Malacca, across the Indian Ocean, and on to the Arabian Gulf. As a part of that, China has helped Sri Lanka in developing its Hambantota port in southern Sri Lanka. Though China say it's commercial, China's naval presence in Hambantota would add to the concerns of the Indian Navy. Similarly, China had helped Pakistan with a similar project in Gwadar on the Mekran coast in Balochistan, the first phase already completed. Though India is trying to make a stronghold in South Asia, China seems to have been making consistently over the last 4 decades to strengthen its South Asian presence and fulfill its string of pearl policy, and that has made India worried. Recently, China has announced its decision to set up a naval base off Seychelles Island on the Indian Ocean, which caused grave concern to India. The string of pearl policy includes the following steps taken by China in India's neighboring countries. 1. Building road in POK. 2. Building road from China Gilgit Neelam Valley, also planned number of tunnels and bridges. 3. The Karakoram Highway, which connects China's Xinjiang region with North Pakistan. The highway called the ninth wonder of the world by some because of its altitude. Naval port of Gwadar on the Makran coast in Balochistan, Pakistan. 4. Naval base at Seychelles Island in Indian Ocean, which makes India to worry about its security and sovereignty in the region and also in the Indian Ocean and Southern Hemisphere. C. Compared to the South Asian Free Trade Area, SAFTA, the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation Free Trade Area, BIMSTEC FTA, seems to be more promising. Critically evaluate. Important points for answer. SAFTA, SAAFTA, BIMSTEC FTA, BIMSTEC FTA. Comparison evaluation. The present situation repeats that there are enormous opportunities for forging closer economic relations among SAARC countries. These opportunities could be fully utilized through twin process of trade liberalization and industrial restructuring, which are complementary to each other. SAFTA, which came into effect in January 2006, has been below the potential PTA. The intra-trade between the SAARC countries stands at $4 million as compared to its potential of $80 billion. The main reasons being the self-interest of the member countries, viewing India as possessing the big brother attitude despite India's attempt to dispel fears of the smaller countries of SAARC. SAARC is a geopolitical region rather than an economic bloc, as evidenced by the increased participation of China, and the most important factor being the rivalry of India and Pakistan, which has led Pakistan not to grant MFN status to India. Now, Pakistan has announced MFN status to India after a long delay, since India has given MFN status to Pakistan long before. On the other hand, BIMSTEC member countries agreed to establish the BIMSTEC Free Trade Area Framework Agreement in order to stimulate trade and investment in the partners. It holds greater promises to India. BIMSTEC, along with the Mekong Ganga Cooperation, can act as a gateway to greater access to the large Asian services market of 565 million service buyers. Therefore, India has been actively signing many PTAs bilaterally with the ASEAN members like Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. India occupies 70% of the SAARC region, both geographically and economically, and the remaining 6 nations of the SAARC borders only with India and not with each other. As the biggest and the most industrialized trading partner among the SAARC countries, India has to recognize that a special responsibility devolves on her and take a lead in making a regional economic cooperation a reality in South Asia. Question 2. Answer any 3 of the following in about 150 words each. 12 into 3, 36. A. Subsequent to the Nuclear Suppliers Group (NSG) waiver in 2008, what are the agreements on nuclear energy that India has signed with different countries? Important points for answer. NSG, waiver for India, nuclear energy agreements. India has a flourishing and largely indigenous nuclear power program and expects to have 20,000 megawatt nuclear capacity online by 2020 and 63,000 megawatt by 2032. It aims to supply 25% of electricity from nuclear power by 2050. After the 34 years exclusion, India was given the waiver of the NSG and has been recognized as the de facto nuclear power. It paved the way for major international companies to have a share in the vast nuclear market of India. France was the first country to sign the civil nuclear deal in 2008, followed by 8 other countries. These are Russia, Mongolia, Namibia, Argentina, UK, Canada, Kazakhstan, and South Korea. Recently, Australia, the largest uranium exporter of the world, has removed the ban on India and consented to export uranium to India. B. Trace the progress of India's efforts for a joint counter-terrorism strategy with China. What are the likely implications of the recent Xinjiang violence on these efforts? Important points for answer. Joint counter-terrorism strategy, India-China efforts, Xinjiang violence. The two Asian giants exactly know that the terrorism anywhere is a threat everywhere. That was the main theme of the joint counter-terrorism mechanism signed by India and China in 2002. After 9/11 attacks, India has signed many bilateral mechanisms with several countries. A significant addition was made to the mechanism in 2005. The joint counter-terrorism was extended to include separatism and extremism so as to suit Chinese problem of Uyghur extremism and Dalai Lama's separatism movement, despite the working of this bilateral mechanism since 2002. The first India-China joint anti-terror military exercise, Plan in Hand 2007, held at Kunming in the Yunnan province of China from December 19 to 25, 2007, which involves 103 troops each from the two armies. Beijing's policy, like that of the US, shows a marked disinclination to hold Pakistan accountable for the jihadi terrorism in the Indian territory. The recent incidents in Xinjiang and its probable links with ISI has not led to any change in China's policy except supporting Pakistan efforts in dismantling terrorism, and it is this aspect which has strategic implication of India. C. Bring out the importance of the Small and Medium Enterprises Expo and Conference held in Dubai last year for Indian businesses. Important points for answer. SME Expo and Conference importance. The SMEs Expo will offer a great platform to small units to promote their brands, products and services, as well as explore business opportunities in the Middle East and North African markets. Besides giving a major impetus to networking activities with other visiting countries such as Pakistan, Mauritius, Nigeria and Vietnam, the event will offer Indian SMEs the opportunity to acquaint themselves with the latest technologies in their industries and from alliances with international clients. Indian SMEs from sectors such as plastic, petrochemicals, garments and textiles, and art and handicrafts, among others, are likely to gain from participation at the expo. Indian SMEs attending the event could also seek to scout for partnership possibilities with Dubai and Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC) based countries such as Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar. Significantly, according to the Dubai Customs Department, with bilateral trade between India and Dubai shooting above $23.14 billion, India was Dubai's biggest direct trade partner during the initial 7 months of 2010. There is also a vast opportunity for India to boost India's banking presence in the UAE to enhance two-way trade and investment. D. What are the salient features of the political and economic relationship between India and South Africa? Important points for answer. India, South Africa, economic relations, political relations, importance. India's relationship with South Africa starts since Mahatma Gandhi started his Satyagraha movement in South Africa more than a century ago. Following a commencement of talks between the then South African government and the African National Congress (ANC), India's relations with South Africa were restored after 4 decades with the opening of a cultural center in Johannesburg in May 1993. Thus, against the background of India's consistent support to the anti-apartheid struggle, close and friendly relations, strategic, political, economic and cultural between the two countries have subsequently been consolidated. Various bilateral agreements have also been concluded between India and South Africa in diverse areas ranging from economic and commercial cooperation, defense, culture, health, human settlements, public administration, science and technology and education. On the other hand, the economic relationship also reached the new age. The bilateral trade has trebled from US dollar 2.5 billion in 2003-4 to US dollar 7.5 billion in 2008-9. The trade target to be achieved has been US dollar 15 billion by 2014. An important initiative under negotiation is the India-SACU Preferential Trade Agreement. Commercial interaction has been aided by an Indo-South Africa CEOs Forum. An India Business Forum (IBF) was launched in March 2007 in South Africa. Question 3. Answer either of the following in about 250 words, 20 marks. A. The causes and implications of the Jasmine Revolution and its spread are as much economic in nature as they are political. Critically evaluate. Important points for answer. Jasmine Revolution, implications, causes. Answer. The Arab uprising started when an unemployed youth, Mohammed Po Agassi, committed suicide by self-immolation due to police torture for bribe to run a roadside fruit shop in Tunisia. This incident ignited a fire in the minds of the people. They were already looking for an opportunity to raise their voice against the autocratic government. Arab Spring is the name given to the pro-democracy movement in the Western and Northern African nations. Economic causes: youth unemployment, high level of poverty, impact of global financial crisis, widening gulf between rich and poor, and likewise. Political causes: autocratic regime and tribocracy, increasing intervention of major powers to acquire the strategic resources, the civil unrest, high level of corruption, and likewise. Hindrances: lack of effective central leadership and the problem between the Shia and Sunni peoples, tribal conflicts, active role of revolutionary groups with the help of NATO and US forces, and weapon supplies. B. In the context of the Eurozone debt crisis, examine the proposed six-pack solution. Do you think that this has a better chance of success than the earlier Stability and Growth Pact? Important points for answer. Eurozone debt crisis, Stability and Growth Pact, six-pack solution, comparison. The European Parliament has voted for the adoption of 6 legislative proposals on EU economic governance, popularly known as the Six-Pack, effectively giving unprecedented power to European Commission on member state fiscal and budgetary affairs. 1. It hands the European Commission greater powers to sanction countries that do not keep down their debts and deficits. 2. The European Commission can also impose fines of 0.2% of GDP, which can only be overturned by the majority vote of member states in the Council. 3. The EU Parliament has been given the right to call finance ministers from countries that have been warned. 4. It also provides for European semester so as to annually assess national budgets. Generally, the six-pack is about more than sanctions. It is about prevention. It also emphasizes the prevention is better than cure principle. It is also about more than fiscal discipline. It is about keeping European economics competitive to create jobs and achieve sustainable growth. The Stability and Growth Pact (SGP) is a rule-based framework for the coordination of national fiscal policies in the Economic and Monetary Union (EMU). Also, it was established to safeguard sound public finances, an important requirement for EMU to function properly. Question 4. Answer any 4 of the following in about 150 words each. 12 into 4, 48. A. As regard the increasing rate of melting of Arctic sea ice, the interest of the Arctic Council nations may not coincide with those of wider world. Explain. Important points for answer. Melting of Arctic sea ice, interest of the world, Arctic Council nations. Global warming has changed the Arctic, and the region is now facing a very different future that many nations and companies want to be a part of it. The Arctic countries are set to make a big short-term earnings at the cost of climate change. The disappearing of Arctic sea ice has been known for decades. The underlying cause is believed by all but a handful of climatologists to be a global warming brought about by greenhouse gas emissions. At the rate at which the ice melting differs in every models. It is predicted that there will be no ice meltings in the Arctic at the end of this century if the level of CO2 and methane continues to rise at the present level. Some scientists predict that it may happen in 2050 itself. Interest of Arctic Council nations. The Arctic nations are showing very much interest to tap the untapped resource of oils and gases. It is believed that 25% of the world untapped resource of oil and gas are in the north of the polar circle. The 8th member Arctic Council nations are looking for the way to tap the resources rather than take stern actions to curb the menace of the climate change. The fast-growing commercial interests bring challenges to the Nordic nations, and they are competing themselves for the economical benefits without considering its consequences. B. Is there still a role for the concept of balance of power in contemporary international politics? Discuss. Important points for answer. Balance of power, role and concept. The concept of balance of power, BOP, exists when there is a parity or stability between competing forces. The concept describes a state of our affairs in the international system and explains the behavior of states in that system. As a concept in international law, it is considered as just equilibrium between the members of the family of nations. It expresses the doctrine intended to prevent any one nation from becoming sufficiently strong so as to enable it to enforce its will upon the rest. Even now, the nations are forming regional and economic cooperations, councils and security councils among themselves to make a balance of power in the various regions of the world, such as NATO, EU, SAARC, SCO, ASEAN, AU, etc. US-led NATO groups wanted to make a stronghold in all regions of the world, but to counter this NATO, Russia plans to make more strong SCO and post several union nation groups in the Asia region. So, still all the countries in the world are some way or other trying to make a power stronghold to survive in the globalized era. C. Strategic interests seem to be replacing commercial interests for the host country with regard to CAM Run Bay. Amplify. Important points for answer. CAM Run Bay, RANH Run. Interest, strategic versus commercial. In the Southeast Asian region, the growing deterrent attitude of China is considered as a threat to all the Southeast Asian nations, including Vietnam. The Vietnam's military modernization program has also escalated tension with Beijing over disputes islands in the South China Sea. Once operational, the submarines will provide Vietnam with a potent deterrent aimed at China's increasingly powerful navy. The Cam Ranh Bay is one of the finest deepwater anchorages in the Southeast Asia and provides access to the commercially and strategically vital sea lanes which pass through the South China Sea. The base, established by the French in the late 19th century, occupied by Japan in the Second World War, became major base of operations for the US military in 1978, then leased to Russia for 25 years and again come back to Vietnam in 2002. Now Vietnam has announced the lease proposal to the foreign navies. But it is viewed as a part of larger strategy by Vietnam to strengthen defense ties with US and facilitate the US military presence in Southeast Asia as a counter to China's rising power in this region. The regular presence of US warships at Cam Ranh Bay might make China think twice about using coercive military diplomacy against Vietnam. D. To what extent has the withdrawal of Al-Shabaab from Mogadishu given peace a real chance to in Somalia? Assess. Important points for answer. Conditions of Somalia, Al-Shabaab withdrawal, chances of peace. Somalia is one of the worst famine affected country in the world. The living condition of the people is very low. There is no proper food, sanitation and basic amenities. Due to a long civil war, the international agencies could not do any humanitarian aid to the affected people properly. The Al-Shabaab guerrilla is one of the militant outfits which imposed the blockade in the region. This had been one of the causes of worsening famine in the country as Al-Shabaab did not allow international body to work there. Now with the withdrawal of Al-Shabaab, the humanitarian crisis can be properly handled and the chances of lasting peace will increase in the region. 1. White flag. A slow moving vehicle such as a retiring car, an ambulance or tow truck ahead on the track and instructs drivers to slow down. 2. Black flag. Orders a particular driver to return to his pit within the next lap and report immediately to the clerk of the course, usually because they have been disqualified from the race. 3. Yellow flag. Question number E. On a Formula 1 F1 racing car track, information to drivers is generally signaled through the standardized use of flags of different colors. Describe the meanings associated with any 6 of the flags listed below. 1. White flag. A slow moving vehicle such as a retiring car, an ambulance or a tow truck ahead on the track and instructs drivers to slow down. 2. Black flag. Orders a particular driver to return to his pit within the next lap and report immediately to the clerk of the course, usually because they have been disqualified from the race. 3. Yellow flag. A single yellow indicates danger ahead, such as debris from a crash. Drivers must slow down as they pass. No overtaking is permitted unless it is unavoidable, such as a driver retiring in the section or a driver is slapped. 4. Blue flag. During a race, a light blue flag waved on the track warns the driver that they are about to be lapped by a faster car and must let it pass. A driver may incur penalties if they ignore these successive blue flags. 5. Black and white flag divided diagonally informs the driver that their behavior has been deemed unsporting, and if they do not begin acting in a sporting manner immediately, they will be disqualified. A sign with the car number accompanies the flag. 6. Checkered flag signals the end of the race, practice session or qualifying season. During the race, it is shown first to the winner and then to the rest of the field as they finish. Otherwise, it is shown at predetermined time. 7. Yellow and red striped flag warns drivers that the track surface ahead is slippery or there is debris present. Question 5. Comment on any 13 of the following in about 50 words each. 5 into 13, 65. A. International Year of Chemistry. The International Year of Chemistry 2011, IYC 2011, is a worldwide celebration of the achievements of chemistry and its contribution to the well-being of the whole humankind. The goals of IYC 2011 are to increase the public appreciation of chemistry, to encourage interest in chemistry among young people, and to generate positive approach for the creative future of the chemistry. B. The scourge of e-waste. The scourge of e-waste. Due to technology development, the world is facing another major problem is in the name of e-waste. It leads to various environment and health problems. The amount of various chemical compounds and other toxic materials present in the electronic compounds can cause cancer and other skin diseases. Also, they pollute the environment in various ways. C. Designer poultry eggs. Designer eggs are those eggs produced by flocks of chickens that have been fed special diets to modify the nutrition of the eggs they produce. The composition of the feeds leads to the desired composition of the eggs, adding to the nutritive profile in the eggs through enrichment in the diet and not by use of any drugs or hormones. D. INSPIRE program of the Department of Science and Technology. INSPIRE means Innovation in Science Pursuit for Inspired Research. It is an innovative program to commemorate to the youth of the country that excitements of creative pursuit of science at an early age and thus build the required critical human resources pool for strengthening and expanding the science and technology system and research and development in the field of science. E. The Kessler syndrome with reference to space debris. It is a scenario in which the density of objects in low Earth orbit (LEO) is high enough that collisions between objects could cause a cascade, each collision generating debris which increases the likelihood of further collisions. It was first proposed by NASA scientist Donald J. Kessler in the year 1978. Hence, it is called Kessler syndrome. F. Omega-3 fatty acids in our food. Omega-3 fatty acids are very essential and helpful in alleviating cardiovascular disease and also the diseases like diabetes, inflammatory ailments, and autoimmune disorders. The source of omega-3 are fish oil, marine foods, cod liver oil, and also found in bread, milk, and dairy products, fruit juices, salads, and mayonnaise, etc. G. Difference between spin drying and tumble drying technology with reference to drying of washed clothes. The two technology has been used in drying the clothes. The spin drying spins the drums faster than a typical washer could in order to extract additional water from the load, whereas tumbler dryer uses the heated rotating drum for clothes dryer. Spin dryer, on the other hand, may remove more water in 2 minutes than a heated tumbler dryer can in 20 minutes, thus saving significant amount of time and energy. H. The diminishing population of vultures. This is mainly due to use of diclofenac in animals has led to the sharp decline in the vulture population in the Indian subcontinent. Vultures eat the carcasses of livestock that have been administered veterinary diclofenac and are poisoned by the accumulated chemical which causes renal failure, a known side effect of diclofenac. The vulture population has declined 95% in 2003 and 99.9% in 2008. I. Arsenic bug and the significance of its discovery. NASA-supported researchers have discovered the first known microorganism on Earth able to thrive and reproduce using the toxic chemical arsenic. The microorganism, which lives in California's Mono Lake, substitutes arsenic for phosphorus in the backbone of its DNA and other cellular components. J. F-22 Raptor aircraft. It is a single-seat, twin-engine, fifth-generation maneuverable fighter aircraft that uses stealth technology. The F-22 Raptor is made up of 39% titanium, 24% composite, 16% aluminium, and 1% thermoplastic by weight. Titanium is used for its high strength to weight ratio in critical stress areas, including some of the bulkheads, and also for the head resistant qualities in the hard sections of the aircraft. Carbon fiber composites have been used for the fuselage frame, the doors, intermediate spars on the wings, and for the honeycomb sandwich construction skin panels. A BAE Systems head-up display HUD shows target status, weapon envelopes, and shoot cues. A video camera records data on the HUD for post-mission analysis. K. Concentrated solar energy and photovoltaic solar energy. Concentrated solar power CSP systems use mirrors or lenses to concentrate a large area of sunlight or solar thermal energy onto a small area. Electrical power is produced when the concentrated light is converted to heat, which drives a heat engine, usually a steam turbine, connected to an electrical power generator. Photovoltaics PV is a method of generating electrical power by converting solar radiation into direct current electricity using semiconductors that exhibit the photovoltaic effect. The solar panels, composed of a number of solar cells, contain photovoltaic materials such as monocrystalline silicon, polycrystalline silicon, amorphous silicon, cadmium fluoride, and copper indium, and gallium selenide or sulfide. L. Analog, hybrid, and IP systems in CCTV technology. The closed circuit television CCTV system has different technologies in which analog cameras cost less than IP network cameras. Widespread compatibility. Analog CCTV systems capture video in its purest electric form. IP CCTV can send video, audio, and data from the city to another up to 30 kilometers away. A hybrid CCTV system can record and display IP cameras and analog cameras into the same security recorder. M. Various applications for Kevlar. Kevlar is a brand fiber which is used for various purposes. 1. It is used as heat resistant during rocket and satellite launches. 2. It is used to make protection vests military helmets and resistant gloves, bulletproof jackets, etc. 3. It is used to vehicle armor and helps to protect the law enforcement personnel who face multiple threats from firearms, knives, and puncture-producing weapons. 4. It is also used to improve the performance of durability of powertrain and body components used in passenger vehicles, trucks, and race cars. 5. The fibers and filaments also help to strengthen countless miles of cast containing glass fibers that transmit voice, data, and video signal. N. Differences between compact disc CD, digital versatile disc DVD, and Blu-ray disc. Compact disc CD is a small portable round medium made up of molded polymer for electronically recording, storing, and has storage capacity of 700 MB of data, uses semiconductor laser. Digital versatile disc DVD is an optical disc technology with 4.7 GB storage capacity on a single-sided one-layered disc. DVD can be single or double-sided and can have a layer on each side. Two-layered DVD will hold up to 17 GB of video, audio, or other information. Uses 650 nm wavelength laser diode light. Blu-ray disc (BD) is designed to supersede the DVD format. The plastic disc is 120 mm in diameter and 1.2 mm thick, same as DVD. It contains 25 GB per layer. Uses blue laser. Question 6. Comment on the following in about 50 words each. 5 into 5, 25 marks. A. Functions of the World Customs Organization, WCO. Functions of the WCO is situated in Brussels. It is considered as a sister organization of WTO. Its primary function is to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of member customs administrations, thereby assisting them to contribute successfully to national development goals, especially in the areas of revenue collection, national security, trade facilitation. Its primary function is to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of member customs administrations, thereby assisting them to contribute successfully to national development goals, especially in the areas of revenue collection, national security, trade facilitation with other nation, community protection, and collection of trade statistics, which enables the member states in all fronts to improve their trade with international community. B. Success of international intervention in Code D, Ivory Coast. The conflict in Ivory Coast had entered a decisive phase as Laurent Gbagbo, Laurent Gbagbo, Gbagbo, who has hung on to power despite losing in the general election, fights an endgame against the rightful president. Unlike what happened in Libya, Iraq, and Afghanistan, the intervention in Coast d'Ivory worked within a week. Former President Laurent Gbagbo accepted the defeat in an election and plunged his country into a steadily escalating spiral of violence and repression. Was in custody. Within a week, the majority of his forces had surrendered or rallied to the new president's side. Moreover, it did not lead to civil war, which often occurs in the African countries. C. Strategies adopted by Colombia to eliminate its drug cartels. As of 2011, Colombia remains the world's largest cocaine producer. Since the establishment of the war on drugs, the US and European countries have provided financial, logistical, tactical, and military aid to Colombia to curb the drug cartels. The most notable of this step is Plan Colombia, a program to combat drug cartels and leftist organizations, and deployed police and military forces to retake the territory controlled by the cartels. A second part of the strategy is to bring down the top bosses. Colombia managed, with the help of USA and the UNODC, to rid itself of the drug cartels. As a signatory to the 1988 Vienna Convention against Drug Trafficking, Colombia has been taking stern actions to curb the menace of drugs. D. World Food Programme, WFP, of the United Nations, UN. WFP is the United Nations frontline agency in the fight against global hunger. Since its launch, WFP staff around the world have worked tirelessly towards reducing hunger. In 2010, WFP aims to provide food assistance to more than 90 million people in 72 countries. WFP of the UN is the World's largest humanitarian agency fighting hunger worldwide. It was formed in 1961 with the vision of alleviating hunger from the globe in cooperation with FAO and IFAD. E. Sculpture of the broken chair in front of the UN building at Geneva. In order to show the opposition and to remain to the world leaders, the broken chair is a monumental sculpture in wood by the Swiss artist Daniel Berset, constructed by the carpenter Louis Geneve. It symbolizes the opposition to landmines and cluster bombs and acts as a reminder by politicians and others visiting Geneva. It is one of the peaceful way to show our anger and disappointment with the world leaders and to remind their failures to take actions against the injustice. Question 7. Why have each of the following been in the news recently? Each answer in a sentence are 2 only. 2 into 10, 10. 1. A. Tiangong 1. It is the first space laboratory module of China. B. K computer. It is the fastest supercomputer produced by Fujitsu Japan. It can operate over 2 petaflops. C. Gliese 581G. GLIESE. It is an Earth-sized planet orbiting a nearby star. Liquid water could exist on the surface of the planet. D. Mabel robot. MABEL. It is the fastest bipedal robot with knees running at a speed of 6 miles per hour. E. Operation Shady Rat. It is a cyber attack which have hit at least 72 organizations including Defense, Business, UNO, IOC, etc. F. Saga 220. It is ISRO-made supercomputer. G. Billion Acts of Green. An environment campaign with the goal to reach a billion act of environmental service. H. El Aquila earthquake. The deadliest earthquake that hit Italy recently. I. Opera detector at Gran Sasso. It observes neutrinos traveling faster than the speed of light. J. Saturn's Titan. This is the largest moon of Saturn and only known to have device atmosphere. Question 8. Why have the following been in news recently? Each answer in a sentence or 2 only. 2 into 5, 10. Answer A. New International newspaper. Employees of the newspaper were accused of engaging in phone hacking. Police bribery and various illegal ways to collect the news. News International announced the closure of the newspaper on 7th July 2011. The final issue reads in big title, "Thank you and goodbye." B. Mustafa Abdul Jalil. He is the chairman of National Transitional Council of Libya's caretaker government. C. Abil Kirui. ABEL KIRUI. He won gold medal for Kenya in men's marathon as World Athletics Championship. D. Natalie Portman. NATALIE Portman PORTMAN. The actress has won the Academy Golden Globe, the BAFTA awards for her role in Black Swan in 2011. E. Nawaz Salam. He is the Lebanon's representative of Security Council. He held the rotating presidency of the Security Council in September 2011. Question 9. A. List the requisites of a good table. Present the following in a suitable tabular form. Question 9 and 10 are graph based and it is not recorded here. File 22 complete.